Hello friends, I would like to discuss the present education system of our country in detail. You know well that education plays an important role in the development of a person or of a society or of a country. If the education system is not effective or powerful, then a country can't be succeeded in all the spheres or in all the fields. So I would like to explain in detail about the things about what's going on in our country nowadays. What are the major challenges which are being faced, which are in front of our country, and what kind of steps or what kind of measures must be taken so that the condition of our education must be improved, and what is the actual situation of our country right now in the present scenario. So what is the essential things for us? First of all, moral education must be conducted. You know well that in the present scenario, moral education has been very mandatory because the mentality of the people is being changed or is changing day by day. So if somebody wants to learn honesty, sincerity, commitment, love, affection and commitment, then people or the students has to go through with the life history of the great saints or great people who did many things for the sake of their honesty, sincerity, commitment, cooperation, affection, brotherhood, sincerity. But now the values are decreasing in our society, in our country. So to make the character building of our country, it's mandatory that moral education must be the core part of our education. Next is lack of practical education and theoretical education. You know that in our education system, practical education is less and there is theoretical education. Only questions are learned, only chapters are learned. But when somebody takes part in the examination and he or she forgets everything. So what is the benefit of such education if students are not able to implement those things which they learn through their studies? So it's the need of the hour that our education system must be practical enough rather than theoretical, and we must remove the rote memory system. You know, only things are cramming: apple, AWPLE, apple, AWPLE, apple, AWPLE. Only these things are taught. So rather than theoretical system, we need to implement or we need to execute practical education system in our country, and emphasis on quality education. You know that what's the reason that some people are unemployed in today? Due to the lack of quality education. There is no quality education in our country. Only less institutes are and they provide quality education to the children. That's why they can make their career bright. What's the reason that some students are not able to start their own business, on we can say that setups and startups, just because of theoretical education? And if we want to enhance the creativity, innovative thoughts, lofty thoughts, and to do something wonderful or amazing things in our country, then we have to go through the quality education. We can see that Israel is a very small country. Netherlands, England, so many countries are there, even North Korea, Singapore. These are not very highly populated countries. But why they are advanced? Just because of their technology, just because of their practical education. But on the other hand, India is highly populated country in the world. Still, we are lagging behind in the race of progress. Israel is a very small country, but it is defeating many neighboring countries just because of its technology. So we need to change our mindset. Only then we can survive in the present scenario. Otherwise, we can't fulfill our requirements, and so many things will increase in the society. And learning through play. You know, when the teaching method is very boring, when the learning methods are not conducive, are not effective learning system is not there, then students will not take interest. And when little children are not taking interest in education, then they will quit the study. That's why the enrollment and the population, the growth strength of students is very less even in the primary education. So some toys must be purchased, some latest technology must be followed, good things must be provided at the initially or nascent stage. And next is multidisciplinary approach. Multidisciplinary approach must be adopted, that different segments must be taught, different type of education must be provided to the students, so that they can enhance their all-round development, they can do their holistic development. But what is happening, only just 2 or 3 chapters, 2 or 3 subjects are taught, so they impede, they hinder their holistical or their multidisciplinary approach. Focus on research and innovative. It is the time that we need to focus on research, development, innovative, creative and imagination, because if we do not provide ample opportunities to the little children, it means we are the killer of their innate ability, we are the killer of their creativity, of their dreams, of their imagination. So it must be our primary need, that we must provide ample opportunities to the skilled or intelligent students. Now I would like to explain that what are the challenges, what are the problems or obstacles which are being faced in our country in today's time in education system. Lack of infrastructure. In India, it is seen that there is disparity between rural and urban areas. In urban areas, facilities are more, but in rural areas, facilities are very less as compared to big cities, urban areas. So there is disparity, there is discrimination of resources. So our government or the common social reformers need to focus on this problem, that why there is disparity or there is discrimination of we can say that infrastructure. So we must provide more infrastructure in villages, in rural areas rather than urban areas. Teachers quality and imparting best education training. If teachers are not well trained, if they are not able to impart their experience, their knowledge among the students, then what is the use of such knowledge, such experience? So training must be rigorous, training must be hard, many things must be taught, so that teachers can develop their holistic development or all-round development. Because little children consider teachers as a role model. If their role model is not effective, not creative, not skilled or efficient or adroit, then we can imagine that what will be the situation of our students. Next is unequal access. Things are not divided equally among the students of big cities, or we can say that big cities, but as compared to the rural areas. Many facilities are provided in big cities, in urban areas, but less facilities are provided in the rural areas. Another thing is that overpopulated classrooms. Our classrooms in our country are very highly populated. There are so many students, congested. If many students sit together in a classroom, how can a teacher pay attention on individual students? No, it's not possible at any cost. So rather than we can say that arranging highly populated classrooms, we need to make small groups, so that teacher can focus on every student. And outdated curriculum, our curriculum is not up to the mark, it's outdated. Although in our education system, in our education policy, some amendments have been conducted, or some new rules have been initiated or enacted. Still we need to do something more and more. Less of focus on critical education and thinking vocational skills. Only theoretical education is provided. Vocational education is there. After completing degree or diploma, if somebody is not able to find out a job according to his or her ability, then it means we are not providing vocational education, but we are providing only theoretical education. And heavy workload on teachers. It is seen that in our country that teachers have to face so many problems. Sometimes they are engaged in election system. Sometimes many actions are being done through the teachers. So it is mandatory that government consider it that elections must not be conducted to the teachers. They must not be appointed in election system. Another body or another officials must be engaged in that, because during the time of examination students have to suffer a lot. And when teachers are not there in the class or in the schools, in the colleges, who will teach to the students? It's not the fault of students or teachers and the parents as well, but it is the fault of our system. Next is emphasis on rote memory system in schools or education, in school, colleges, in higher or lower education system. Only rote memory system is, it means students only memorize questions and answers all the time, but they are not relevant to the present system. Now it's in the era of technology, in the age of digital. It's mandatory that practical things must be taught rather than theoretical things, and we need to remove the rote memory system and cramming methods of education system. So some remedial measures must be adopted if you want to get rid of these kind of problems. Next is gender discrimination. It is seen that some parents don't send their children, their girls in the schools or colleges, but they send their boys in the schools or colleges. So this gender disparity or discrimination is generally seen, it's not good. And when boys and girls will not sit together, there is no co-education. So it hampers or stops the all-round development of children, because when girls and boys study together, they can impart their experience with one another, and they can understand so many values. They can understand discipline also, because in front of the girls, boys do not speak abusive language, or they do not show off awkwardness. So it stops the communication skills. There is no control over their words. So in schools and colleges, co-education must be conducted. And lack of policy implementations. It is generally seen that many rules and regulations are made every year, but they are not properly implemented or executed. That's why we do not get the desirable results. And so if policies are really made, they need to be properly implemented. Next is innovative methods are not so good. New methods must be implemented, and facilities must be provided in schools and colleges, in every institution, so that students can improve their holistical or all-round development, and it will enhance the capacity. It will enhance the reputation and prestige of society as well as country and internationally as well. Another thing is that lack of funds. It shows the lack of interest or indifferent interest of the government, that government allocates a lot of huge fund or massive funds in other activities rather than education. So if you want to make our country powerful, advanced in the world in the present scenario, government must allocate huge fund. Only then they can achieve the targets. Lack of awareness and dropout rates is very high. It is seen that in marginal groups, or in we can say that backward sections of the society, their parents do not send their children in the schools and colleges, so the ratio of dropout students also increases. And parents, even some tribal areas, some persons do not understand the importance of education. Even today they are very far from the mainstream of the society. So government must take some hard steps for this. Although in national education policy in 2020 many amendments have been done or have been exercised in our policy, still we need to do some extra things as well. Holistic development and multidisciplinary education system and integrated course must be enhanced in vocational education. If we want to see the holistic development of the students, then it's mandatory that we need to provide holistic development. If a little child has some dreams, if somebody has some imagination, if he wants to fulfill them, then it's our duty that we must provide ample opportunities or huge opportunities for those curious students, because they are our actual assets of our country. If we are not, if a society, if a family, if a country doesn't provide those facilities or those opportunities to a growing child, then we are the killer of his creativity, we are the killer of his skill, we are the killer of his or her dreams. So it's our mandatory that we anyhow or somehow we need to provide some ample opportunities for the growth of that child. Only then our country will achieve the standard target of our country. Digital education must be started in schools and colleges. It is seen that even today in some rural areas, digitalization is very less. Some people are they are not aware enough about the we can say the digital education system. So such kind of technology must be provided in the rural areas. There must be no disparity or no difference between the urban and rural areas. Only then we can get the best thing in the world. Focus on early childhood education. You know that at the nascent or at the initial stage, children has a superb curiosity. They want to grasp everything. They have the innate quality of learning the things. But if we do not provide them such education, we are the killer of their creativity. So friends, it's very mandatory that we need to focus on childhood. We should understand the curiosity of a child, because a little child can become the best and powerful speaker, he can become the best leader, he can become a best teacher, doctor, scientist, painter, everything, every post he or she can hold. So we need to a special education must be provided. Psychologists must be appointed at the very initial stage, so that they can understand that what kind of special qualities, instinct qualities somebody has, and according to his capacity, according to his wish, according to his analytical or logical powers, education must be provided to such students. And easy access to higher education. Sometimes it is observed that for in higher education, parents do not send their children. They have afraid, they have stereotype mentality. They are still lagging behind in the race of progress. So they must be open hearted, they must be open minded, so that their children can achieve higher education. Because without higher education, we cannot uh, we cannot enhance their knowledge and their development. Another thing is that primarily emphasis on practical exposure. In schools or colleges, it is generally seen that only question answers are cramming. Rote memory system is followed. Uh, Exposure, the facility of exposure is very less as compared to advanced nations. In advanced nations, it is seen that ample chances to provide it to the curious students, but there is hesitation in the students, so they cannot work in MNCs or in many other we can say that private companies or so many offices, just because of hesitation. So if we want to remove the hesitation permanently or forever, then practical exposure must be started uh, at the from the very initial stage. And quality education must be appointed, must be given to the students. If we want to maintain all these things, that quality access to the quality education for all equally for the marginalized and communities, and essential if we want to see the bright future of our country, that it's mandatory that ample opportunities must be provided to the students, and government must also consider about this. Even leaders must focus on the education system rather than other things, because education is the base of every country, every nation. If somebody wants to fulfill his or her desires, then there is no other thing except education. So friends, we need to understand the importance of education. Only then we can see the bright future, bright India, bright world. Thanks a lot.